I saw a plaque on the wall where it was saying that Winston Churchill was involved with the Hellfire Club, but he actually left. He was rather disappointed by the sounds of it in what the Hellfire Club were up to. That's quite easy to understand, I suppose, if you take into account they were getting naked and performing sexual orgies in groups, and used to dress up as demons, which in an underground cave might disturb a future Prime Minister. But I'm sure there's many future Prime Ministers actually welcomed that prospect with glee.
God, you can think of how awful it would be to have sex with Winston Churchill.
Yeah, I can think of better ways to spend my time than getting naked in a cave with Winston Churchill.
How about Bush, Blair, or Obama?
No, I think I'll take a miss on that.
The Hellfire Clubs. Sex, Satanism, and secret societies. They've done a book on it. Yale University Press. New Haven in London. New Haven is where they have the Skull and Bones, the Brotherhood of Death. George Herbert Walker Bush and his son, President George Walker Bush. They lay nude in the coffin, and they have a book about it. New Haven, Connecticut, and London. What is the connections? It makes me choke. This isn't an illusion. It's for real. See the demons that they dress up as the Illuminati, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Royal Institute of International Affairs. The information has surrounded us. You go into London, you see all the figurines as if they were from the Hellfire Club. You have family that came from this area?
Reputedly, yes. Can't trace back quite that far, but my mother was a Dashwood.
So here's Sir Francis Dashwood.
But we'd love to be able to trace back. We've gone so far back, but not quite. as far back.
Postmaster General in copy of the New Prayer book by Nathaniel Dance.
I believe Benjamin Franklin came over and partook of the caves here.
Well,
one
yes,
time.
in fact, Benjamin Franklin.
There he is.
Here he is.
Yes.
Benjamin Franklin, colonial agent in London. There's supposed to be sex parties and
That's right.
things of that nature that were occurring here.
Yes.
I've heard, children, I've heard all sorts of things about Ben Franklin. But that's maybe American lore.
Yeah, we know that the caves were used to build the road that leads into Wickham. That's what they used the chalk for. So whether there was an excuse to use the chalk for the road, which they gave to the public,
Yes.
but maybe they had an ulterior motive in the fact that they wanted to use the caves for their orgies.
So this was an orgy cave.
It was. It's very claustrophobic down here.
Well, I don't think so. It's sort of like the catacombs of Rome. Think of how horrible the monetary system is that we live under. The banksters have an agenda, and it's a Luciferian one. They have a god, and their god is Lord Lucifer.
In the flames that eat thine effigy, we shall read the sign, Midsummer sets us free. You shall burn me once again.
Would any of these activities that went on here either praise him or enhance his program for a global government, a new world order. Now, you know, the euro is part of Hitler's dream come true.
Is it?
Oh yes, I mean
Yes.
in the second book, the world order after Mein Kampf,
Right.
and he wanted to eliminate certain people. So some of the tomfoolery that's here in this cave is just that, and to get people thinking in one direction while they go in the other. Let's go on down here. Ghost in the Cave. There are many people who have had reason to haunt the caves, but none more than Paul Whitehead, steward of the notorious Hellfire Club. On his death, he left 50 pounds to Sir Francis Dashwood for the purchase of an urn to be deposited in the Dashwood Mausoleum so that his heart could be placed inside and remain with the Dashwoods forever. You see things of this nature in this country. You see the satanic symbology all over the city within the city. That's the financial district, where they have the Bank of England and the Royal Exchange, the statue of Wellington, and that's where the real nightmare and the horror took place, when Rothschild told the people that Wellington had lost and Napoleon had won, which enabled him to take over the monetary system, giving us the world's scariest and most horrible nightmare. Well, Marilyn, I hear some sounds up here. You are a Dashwood.
There is a lady in white ghost that haunts the caves.
Yes.
Reputably a young girl from West Wickham who haunts these caves.
Marilyn, we may see the ghost in white, is that correct? A young lady?
A young girl from the village, and she spurned the local young men, and she was trying to hitch herself up with an aristocrat. And 3 young boys lured her up here one night.
So the 3 young men lured her into this cave. I assume raped her and killed her, is that correct?
I certainly lured her to the entrance of the cave, and because she spurned them, they killed her.
Oh, she said no, she wasn't going to go for it.
Yes, because she wanted to marry an aristocrat, and so she has reputedly haunts these caves.
Well, I'm not an aristocrat, but if she's around, I invite her to come into our camera so that you can see her, and maybe we can have a short chat. But this is where Ben Franklin and the other people from the Hellfire Club would come for the orgies. And there is an American Illuminati. There is a group of people that, members of the Hellfire Clubs, 1762. Sir Francis Dashwood, Lord Despenser, right? Paul Whitehead, the Earl of Sandwich, First Lord of the Admiralty, Lord Malcolm, Regis, politician, Sir William Stanhope. It looks like the Illuminati elite of that day.
Absolutely, yes.
There was a film made about the Hellfire Club called Eyes Wide Shut by Stanley Kubrick. And in that, these men of power and prestige acquired sexual favors by giving these girls what they wanted financially, but some of them who rejected their favors wound up dead in a local cemetery. I wonder just how many of these individuals today are doing things from the Bohemian Club and from the Bohemian Grove.
Some say the men attending Bohemian Grove should be charged with murder. Though there is no evidence of it, they say rituals that take place during the cremation of care ceremony involve symbolically sacrificing children.
The killing of children, whether ceremonial or in actuality, is a crime.
Some believe it actually happens.
There was an event, and it was there, and that's where they terminated the life of this child for the purpose of granting even more power over this country by the Catholic Church.
The Bohemian Grove is north of San Francisco along the Russian River. And it is sort of the personification of hell, fire, activities. Would they actually create an atomic bomb? Or, well, they did, put it together there at the Bohemian Grove. This preceded that. But the tradition goes on, and at the foot of the Owl of Moloch, they have traditional sacrifices of children.
There are possibly names that we don't know about that are not on that list. Probably very famous people who are not actually there on that list.
Henry Kissinger, certainly, he was one. John Wilkes, like John Wilkes Booth, supposed to have assassinated Lincoln. Was he involved with the Masonic religion and Lord Lucifer? And of course there was an individual who was in this country. I mean, the United States. I keep thinking that we're there, but we're not. This is England. This is the Hellfires Club. In Maryland, Benjamin Franklin. We've all heard all sorts of horrible rumors about him. Would he have engaged in such activities? We'll find out. It's really frightening to think that men of power and prestige who profess to be Christians and conservatives will engage in criminal activities before our very eyes. We're simply blind to it. I guess that's why Kubrick named his film Eyes Wide Shut. We don't want balloons in it. Romantic place. Children in the Caves. Sir George Dashwood. Mrs. Berkeley from an original painting. It looks like the Children of the Corn. Members of Parliament. The House of Lords. Of course, we have the activities in Parliament today, which are far more criminal than anything you can possibly imagine. There's some of the faces that have been etched into the side of the wall. Satanic? Oh, huh? You be the judge. The horns. The triangles. No, that's what.
There's symbols up there.
These are probably
These
marks.
Are symbols, aren't they?
They're marks from the.
Or are they?
I think they're probably just marks.
You do?
But they might be symbols, but they're only in this area. Might be the way they actually carved it out.
Yeah.
No, it would have to be deliberate. Otherwise, it would have carved it out differently.
Oh, it's just dirt. It comes
I guess
off.
it is all over, yeah.
It comes off actually. It's like a soft plaster.
I wonder how they.
Oh look, there's even a tiny one here. Look.
I wonder how they would feel if we just peeled a couple of these things off and brought them home.
Some graffiti.
We've now entered the
Inter sanctum.
possibly the orgy room. Advice to a young man on taking a mistress. You can imagine what hell went on here. You can, in your dreams, your nightmares, think of what these banking bastards have done in the past. Dare we speak of the American Illuminati and the Council on Foreign Relations at 5080 68th Street in New York City, and the presidential models, the Bohemian Grove, and all of the horrors that have been committed under the cover of government, from the city within the city to the inner workings, the core within this criminal Cassius cartel. Sir Francis Dashwood, 11th Baronet, 1924 to the year 2000. The Mausoleum Monument, the Church of St. Lawrence. But it is the Church of God, of Christ, or the Church of Satan. I see the picture of one image on the wall. This one. I wonder what fear went through the hearts of the women who were brought here, stripped, some killed. For the pleasure of these madmen in the money monarchy. Is it all rumor? Who would create something like this that didn't have the mind of a maniac? Let me say this. Abandon hope, all ye that enter here. We're now going down into the depths of the tomb. Come on, dear. Sir Francis Dashwood, Baronet. Don't we see the resemblance? Creator of the Hellfire Caves and the notorious Hellfire Club. Sir Francis Dashwood, 2nd Baronet. I don't know whether I would like to spend an evening with Sir Francis and our man from America, Benjamin Franklin. Then he had a lot of strange tastes.
I just realised the church on the hill above us is the Church of St. Lawrence, and my grandfather's name was Victor Lawrence Dashwood. So whether that has any connection, the name,
Was he a Mason?
Not sure. He was a Freemason, yes.
He was a Freemason.
Yes.
In 1726, Sir Francis embarked on a grand tour of Europe. Italy especially aroused a passionate interest in the art and culture of classical antiquity. He also acquired there a taste for high living. For many of his parties, he enjoyed dressing up in an oriental costume, or even as a monk. In 1748, he commenced the excavations of the cave.
What does grand mean?
Masonic. The Grand Orient Lodges. In fact, in the book Morals and Dogma, General Albert Pike said that Lucifer is God, and that the high initiates of the Masonic religion should follow the Luciferian doctrine. This reeks of death. Shall we continue? It's Franklin's cave.
Oh, we've come through the banqueting hall. And
We haven't gone to Franklin's cave. The Triangle. The Miner's Cave.
That's the inner temple.
The river Styx.
We've come this way.
In the
We
inner
haven't
temple.
quite reached the inner temple.
You want to go down here to the river Styx?
It looks as though you can go either way.
Well, I think that some of these Masonic lords went both ways. And I'm not just talking down the tunnel. They like young boys
They still do today at a lot of
and young
colleges.
girls.
Yeah.
Warning. Abandon hope, all ye that enter here. What? Phone's ringing. You want Lord Lucifer? He's here? In the orgy room with Obama, Brown, Blair, and Bush? I haven't seen them, but oh my God. We have to go. Ghost hunting team of Yvette Fielding from Living TV called The Most Haunted. Stayed down here without lights. During the night they had many paranormal experiences, seeing light orbs and hearing noises from such as babies crying and stones hitting the gates. Bats flying through the tunnels caused some moments. Without prior knowledge of the mysterious Hellfire Caves, Derek Ekora, the medium, felt the presence of a young girl dressed in white. The river Styx. In the middle of River Styx is a pool of water called the Styx, said formerly to have been much deeper and only to be crossed by boat. According to the myth of the river Styx, it separated the real world from the underworld. It doesn't take much of an imagination to see this. It is now bridged by stepping stones leading to a lofty circular cave, in the roof of which is a hook for hanging a lamp or bodies. It was in this cave that the monks of Medmenham are alleged to have held their meetings. At the end of the bridge across the river is their inner temple. If If this doesn't sound like Masonic lore in the Lord Lucifer, nothing does. Abandon hope, all ye that enter here.
They've even got the Christian cross over there on the side, hellfire. Oops, excuse me. See the guys in black robes. Okay.
They have a place in this tomb called the Children's Cave. My God. What does the Illuminati and the New World Order plan for the children? I'm sure their doctors have told us that the operation was a success, Doctor. The child died. These are monsters amongst men. And it really is no joke. But vaccinating the kids is mandatory. Changing them into mindless robots. Causing autism. The living dead. They're zombieizing our nations. They're killing, torturing our people.
This is Franklin's room. This is where Ben Franklin came and participated in his Masonic rituals. God knows what sort of horrors these modern day monsters are planning for our children. The monetary monsters who operate our financial system here in London and in the United States have a children's room down here. Imagine, if you will, the horrors that they plan for our children. They want to reduce the population of the planet by 90%. That means your children, by the millions, will have to die to have their dream of a utopian New World Order, which out Hitler's Hitler at the height of his hysteria. This is no joke. This is for real. These Masonic maniacs put all of this together. You think they might have had some sort of association with their Lord Lucifer? Or is this just something for fun and games amongst this financial Faustian fraternity? There's something very, very evil about this place. It's time for us to come to the surface and bring all of these horrors to the surface. They're having mandatory vaccinations now for children under 18. Why? For their benefit? Or is it for their demise? Autism which scrambles the brain. Brings the child into a place in the world where they're mental zombies. England has now made it mandatory that all children under 18 have vaccinations. Is this part of the beginning, or will we rise and take these criminals out of their thrones and put them on trial for treason against God and humanity? This is Anthony J. Hilder. This is the Hellfire Cave. It's god-awful. It's Masonic. They talk about the grand tour of the Grand Orient Lodges. This is all part and parcel of the Masonic religion. Lord Lucifer's men and representatives on earth. Let's get the hell out of here.
Dashwood and Franklin wrote the Book of Common Prayer together, or collaborated on the Book of Common Prayer in the buildings that are at the top of the hill there. It's a beautiful irony that below the hill there are the Hellfire Club caves, where of an evening they would spend in drunken debauchery and orgiastic endeavours, and then during the day exporting Christianity to the modern world. I think that's a rather
And they
charming...
they were doing themselves, weren't they?
I think it's a rather charming irony that while Sir Francis Dashwood and Benjamin Franklin were collaborating on the Book of Common Prayer at the top of the hill there, of an evening they were in the Hellfire Club caves below, sodomising each other, getting drunk, and generally engaged in orgiastic debauch.
I wonder how comfortable a young lady or young man would be coming in with these guys.
I'm sure that there was many a young man and many a young lady that went into those caves unwittingly and left perhaps not quite as intact as they arrived, whether it be their dignity or their body, which was perished.